The world feels fragile, doesn't it? The ground beneath your feet seems to shift. Perhaps you feel it in the news, in the changing face of your community, or most intimately, in the quiet of your own home. Maybe your plans unraveled, the career stalled, the health failed, the chair across the kitchen table is empty now. Maybe tomorrow looks smaller than you dreamed. We can stand today and look back at a life well lived, yet still struggle to see what beautiful thing comes next. We are all searching for a quiet certainty in a loud, uncertain age. Centuries ago, a man stood on the threshold of devastation and felt that same fear. He watched the great city of Jerusalem, the heart of his faith, the pride of his people, turn to ash and broken stones. His name was Jeremiah, the prophet who wept for a future he could not see. He was called not to celebrate a victory, but to mourn a loss. He looked at ruins and felt the finality of an ending. Yet, in his deepest sorrow, in the Lamentations, he cried out to God. Something remarkable happened. His sorrow became a seed. His tears were polished into truth. Through his laments, God left 20 whispers for every heart that trembles at the edge of tomorrow. 20 lessons drawn, not from a mountain of triumph, but from a valley of grief. They are for you. They are for all of us who have lived long enough to know what it means to lose a dream. Let us walk with Jeremiah through the ruins to find that tender hope rising through sorrow. Lesson 1. When plans collapse, God still builds. Jeremiah watched the temple burn, the centerpiece of all human effort and religious certainty. Everything he thought was solid failed. And yet it was right then, in the dust, that God first said, "I know the plans I have for you. Not the plans you had, but the ones I have. Plans for welfare and a future and a hope." You may stand amidst the wreckage of your own 5-year plan, but know this: God's work is not dependent on your current scaffolding. He's rebuilding something new, something deeper. That job loss, that unexpected diagnosis, that betrayal, it felt like demolition. But even in that painful pause, he is laying a new foundation for a hope you haven't yet named. His promises are built on character, not circumstance. Trust the architect. Poetic. Quote, "What you call an ending, God calls a preparation." Lesson 2. God's faithfulness outlasts our tears. Jeremiah is in a cistern, an empty well imprisoned by the people he tried to save. He is soaking wet, sinking in the mire. He's utterly abandoned. Yet in that pit he records the most staggering assurance: the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. His faithfulness is the sun rising over the ruined wall. Maybe you've cried yourself dry over a situation, felt the mire of despair. You may have run out of strength, but God will never run out of mercy. His love doesn't have an expiration date. Let the great, beautiful truth of his faithfulness be the rope that pulls you from the pit. His mercy arrives with every dawn, though your night still lingers. Lesson 3. You can mourn and still believe. Jeremiah is called the weeping prophet for a reason. He didn't offer cheap optimism. He allowed his sorrow to flow freely. His faith did not cancel his grief. He lamented the loss of childhood, the loss of trust, the loss of home. He taught us that real faith is honest grief turned heavenward. You don't have to put on a brave face for God. You are allowed to weep for the life that might have been. Your honesty is not a sign of weak faith. It is the truest expression of it. Bring your broken heart to the altar. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted because He is the only one strong enough to hold them. Grief is the sound of love with nowhere to go until it finds its way to God. Lesson 4. When the city falls, the covenant stands. Jerusalem was the visible symbol of God's promise. When it fell, the people thought the promise had been broken. But Jeremiah knew the difference between the temporary symbol, the city, and the eternal reality, the covenant. A lot of our visible structures, our careers, our families as they were, our physical strength may be crumbling, but these were only containers. The promise, salvation, belonging, eternal life is untouched. Anchor your soul to the unshakable reality. His word, not your world. Let the house fall so long as the cornerstone holds. Lesson 5. Hope grows best in ruins. Ruins clear the slate. They remove the clutter, the distraction, the false gods we built. In the desolation, God has space to plant something utterly new and pure. Jeremiah bought a field in the middle of a siege, a staggering act of faith. He bought it knowing the city would fall, because he believed it would rise again. You may feel you have nothing left but ruins. This is your chance for radical, uncomplicated hope. What if the wreckage is the fertilizer for your deepest, most enduring joy? Plant your hope today. Buy that field. Invest in what only God can restore. The deepest trust is an investment made during a siege. Lesson 6. Sometimes God sends you where you never wanted to go. The people were dragged into exile in Babylon, a foreign pagan land. They hated it. It felt like a detour, a punishment. But Jeremiah told them to settle there. Seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile. Maybe your Babylon is retirement you didn't choose, a small town you moved to for care, or a life season of forced quietness. Stop resisting where you are. God's presence is not confined to the comfort zone you lost. Bloom where you're planted. Your purpose travels with you. The map has changed, but the guide remains the same. Lesson 7. Write letters from the exile. Jeremiah wrote to the discouraged exiles, telling them to build houses and plant gardens, Lesson 9, but also, implicitly, to encourage each other. Don't wait for your own life to be perfect before you lift up another's. Are you waiting for your own situation to improve before you reach out? You have a unique compassion forged in the fire. Use it. Your strength is not in your current success, but in your empathetic survival. Reach out. Your story of endurance is the letter of hope someone else needs to read today. We encourage others best with the lamp we carry through our own night. Lesson 8. Don't confuse silence with abandonment. Jeremiah had to deliver the hardest message God had ever given him, but for long periods God seemed quiet, even absent. The prophet faced the crowd alone. He felt the silence of heaven more deeply than the roar of the mob. When you pray and the answer seems to be swallowed by the quiet, that is often where faith is most tested and therefore most strengthened. Silence does not mean absence. Trust the quiet seasons. God is working in the deep places you cannot see or hear. When the voice is still, the heart learns to listen deeper. Lesson 9. Plant gardens in foreign soil. The famous instruction, plant gardens, eat their produce, marry and have children, and seek the welfare of the city. Don't just survive in the new season. Invest in it. Find purpose in the unfamiliar, even in the foreign soil of a new role, a new phase, or new limitations. That new, quiet chapter is not an empty holding pattern. It is a field waiting for seed. Find a small patch of ground and begin again. Cultivate beauty, not just resignation. The yield of your life depends on your willingness to plant, not on the familiarity of the dirt. We find fruitfulness not by fleeing the unfamiliar, but by planting in it. Lesson 10. Peace begins with surrender. Jeremiah's life was defined by a constant, agonizing conflict between his own will and God's call. His prophecy was unpopular, dangerous, and required deep personal sacrifice. His peace only settled in when he truly surrendered to the path laid before him, however painful. "Woe is me, my mother, that you bore me," he cried, but he kept walking. The future feels uncertain because we are trying to control what only God can govern. The fight in your soul is the resistance to his path. Breathe and release your grip. True peace is found in the willingness to say, "Thy will be done." Surrender is not defeat. It is the only path to quiet strength. If these ancient words are bringing you comfort in a way you didn't expect, please consider subscribing to our channel. This helps us bring more quiet moments of reflection like this one to others who are also walking through uncertain times. Lesson 11. Even prophets feel alone. Jeremiah faced isolation that few of us will ever know. His family persecuted him. His friends betrayed him. His nation hated him. He walked a solitary path. You may feel deeply lonely in your struggle, as if no one truly understands the burden you carry. The feeling of isolation does not mean you are, in fact, alone. God never left Jeremiah, and he has not left you. Lean back on the truth that the most important companion is the one who will never leave you. Isolation is a feeling. God's presence is a fact. Lesson 12, truth will cost you, but lies cost more. Jeremiah's entire ministry was a confrontation with popular lies, the false prophets promising peace when war was coming. Speaking the truth nearly cost him his life, but living the lie would have cost him his soul and the soul of his nation. Are you facing a painful truth right now about yourself, your limits, or your situation? It hurts to admit it, but refusing to see reality is an expensive way to live. Embrace the painful truth. Honesty with yourself and God is the first step toward healing. A gentle lie can make a beautiful wound. Truth is the brutal but necessary surgery. Lesson 13, tears are holy when they lead you home. Jeremiah's weeping was never self-pity. It was always sacred sorrow, grieving the distance between a loving God and a rebellious people. His tears were an intercession, a bridge between heaven and earth. Don't dismiss your deep sorrow. When you cry over lost time, lost potential, or lost love, it means you are still connected to what matters. Your tears wash the dust from your eyes so you can see the path back to God. Weep freely. Let your tears be the map that guides your heart back to the Father. The deepest tears are not spilled. They are collected by the hand of God. Lesson 14, when doors close, build altars. For Jeremiah, the literal door of the temple closed when it was destroyed. The old way of worship was gone. The focus had to shift from the grand building to the intimate relationship. Worship became personal, not ceremonial. The doors of your routine, your workplace, your social circle may have closed. The loss forces you to simplify. Where is your new altar? It may be the quiet corner of your bedroom, the moment before sunrise, or the simple act of gratitude for a single friend. Build a simple, profound altar of gratitude in the small space where you now stand. The loss of the sanctuary reveals the necessity of the inner chamber. Lesson 15. Every ending holds an unseen beginning. The exile was the absolute end of the kingdom of Judah. Everything was finished. But the entire New Testament promise, the New Covenant, was first articulated by Jeremiah during this period of absolute destruction. He saw the promise of a beginning when all others saw only ash. You are facing a profound conclusion, a chapter closing that will never reopen. Hold the tension. The seed of your next great beginning is already within the shell of this ending. Look beyond the ash to the promise. God does his best work in the ultimate finality. An ending is simply the perimeter of an unwritten page. If you are finding yourself returning to these words for comfort, please tap the like button on this video. Your small act of support helps us reach another soul in need of peace. We are a quiet community, and we welcome you. Lesson 16. God remembers his promise in every generation. Jeremiah spoke to a generation that thought God had forgotten them. They looked back at Abraham and Moses and thought, that was then, this is now. But the power of God's covenant is that it spans every generation. You are never an exception to his promises. You have witnessed tremendous change. You've seen the world move faster than you can keep up. But God's character is not subject to historical trends or technology. The God who spoke to your grandparents is speaking to you now. Draw strength from the entire story. You are held securely in a covenant spanning thousands of years. Eternity is the bridge that carries the promise from the past to your present. Lesson 17. Pain can polish the soul until it reflects his light. When we speak of polishing, we often picture a gentle cloth, a smooth, easy motion. But the purification that Jeremiah experienced was brutal. It was the friction of scorching mockery, the rough grain of the chains, the deep, cold despair of the cistern's mud. His suffering was a sustained, agonizing opposition, not just from his enemies, but sometimes, it felt, from the very world around him. He lost his reputation, his safety, and his freedom repeatedly. The easy way of living was stripped from him. He was left with the pure, exposed metal of his soul, hammered and tested. He often cried out, wishing he had never been born. Feeling the immense cost of being a vessel for God's difficult truth, he endured the humiliation of the stocks, the isolation of his prison cell, the constant, low-grade fear that this day would be his last. This was not the smooth sanding of a spiritual retreat. This was the grinding of a diamond. The pain he suffered became the necessary tool that chipped away every external, unreliable source of confidence. The support of his friends, the comfort of his home, the respect of his community. All that remained was the fierce, naked clarity of his trust in God. That absolute dependency, that was the pure metal. Suffering is often the only mechanism capable of removing our superficial, fragile confidence in things that ultimately cannot save us, our accumulated wealth, our physical health, our clever strategies, or the temporary approval of others. These things are necessary for life, but they are poor foundations for the soul. Jeremiah's life proves that God allows the fire not to consume the vessel, but to burn away the dross that obscures its true purpose. The pressure of opposition, the weight of public scorn, the bitter taste of betrayal, these forces didn't destroy him. They compressed his faith into an enduring substance. He learned that the truest worth of a life is found not in what it accumulates, but in what it endures and still remains tethered to the divine. Think back to the loss that altered the landscape of your life forever, the unexpected struggle, the career that ended prematurely, the slow, agonizing decline of a loved one. When you were in the middle of that fire, you may have asked, what is the point of this pain? We see the answer in retrospect. The suffering you have lived through has not diminished you. It has deepened you. The loss of control gave way to a deeper surrender. The necessity of grieving has opened up reservoirs of compassion you didn't know you possessed. You are more tender now, more patient, more real, more aware of the fleeting nature of this world and the eternal weight of the next. You have become a sanctuary for others' sorrow because you know the geography of grief so intimately. You have been refined. Do not regret the refining fire. Every scar, every line etched by worry, every memory of profound loss is now a groove in the metal of your soul designed to catch and reflect his light. When you speak a word of comfort to another, it carries weight because it has been tested by your own furnace. You are not a broken thing. You are a polished mirror. Your purpose now in this seasoned chapter of life is to be a vessel of beautiful, empathetic light for a world that needs to see hope reflected by someone who has truly walked through the shadow. Your survival is your ministry. Embrace the depth that only suffering could grant you. The deepest grooves of suffering are where his light settles and shines. We carry the wound, but the reflection belongs to him. Lesson 18. Wait for the morning. It always comes. Despair is a weight that presses down when the light is absent. For Jeremiah, the darkness was both literal and spiritual. He knew the physical darkness of the cistern, but also the deep soul darkness of a future that seemed irretrievably lost. His own words in Lamentations cry out against the overwhelming night. He has driven me away and brought me into darkness, where there is no light. He knew the terror of waking up to a day that felt just as hopeless as the one before it. Despair attempts to convince us that the exception is the rule, that this night of sorrow will never end, that the pattern of loss is the new eternal rhythm of our lives. He was a man who saw the judgment coming, who lived through its devastating arrival, and who was then imprisoned during its lingering aftermath. His hope had to survive not just a catastrophe, but a chronic, agonizing wait for restoration. He understood that despair is often deepest at 3 a.m., That moment when the defenses are down, the imagination conjures the worst outcomes, and the world outside seems utterly indifferent to your silent pain. This is why he recorded that breathtaking truth: the mercies are new every morning. He did not promise that the storm would end tonight, but that the mercy of God would be renewed with the light. The prophet instructed the exiles, and he instructs us through his own unwavering example to wait for the simple, guaranteed rhythm of dawn. This is a profound spiritual discipline. It is the choice to anchor our unstable emotions to the unchanging physics of the universe that God himself established. Every sunrise is a small, daily reminder that God keeps his word, even when we are too weary or too heartbroken to believe it. It is a biological and spiritual reset button designed into the fabric of creation. God built a guaranteed renewal into the physics of the universe. No matter how dark the night, no matter how sharp the anxiety, the faithful rotation of the earth promises a fresh start, a new portion of grace, and the simple, visible evidence of his constancy. Perhaps you are facing a season of sustained, grinding uncertainty. Maybe you are walking through the prolonged illness of a family member, or the slow erosion of a lifelong ambition, or the profound loneliness that settles in the quiet evenings. When the night is long and the anxiety is sharp, when your mind begins to loop through regrets and fears, remind yourself of the sun. The morning will come, literally and spiritually. You do not have to conquer the entire night. You only have to endure until the light arrives. God's commitment to your future is embodied in that simple biological guarantee. He will not fail to show up. Let the promise of the rising sun be your spiritual instruction. When you feel overwhelmed, break your endurance down into small, manageable units of faith, from this hour to the next. Do not allow the shadows of the middle of the night to define the reality of your day. God's faithfulness is embodied in the rising sun, a testament that he never tires, never forgets, and never fails to renew what has been spent. Rest your weary soul on that certainty. The renewal you need is already scheduled. Do not judge the day by the shadows that hold you in the middle of the night. Wait for the daylight to define God's newest mercy. Lesson 19. Faith is choosing to trust without answers. This is the crisis point of mature faith. Jeremiah never received a detailed, satisfying explanation for the catastrophic suffering he witnessed. Why did God let the city fall? Why did innocent children suffer? Why did the righteous prophet endure the same fate as the wicked king? He had to wrestle with the terrible dissonance between his knowledge of a good God and the overwhelming evidence of a terrible reality. The puzzle of suffering is the greatest temptation to unbelief. He did not stop asking why, but he found that the asking itself could become a new form of worship. His peace was not found in solving the enigma of God's plan, but in clinging to the character of the one who held the answers. His entire life was a sermon on the difference between trust and comprehension. Comprehension is a fragile thing, easily shattered by a single tragic event. Trust, however, is fixed on the immutable. Jeremiah chose to believe in the wisdom, the goodness, and the steadfast love of God, even as his logical mind screamed for a different outcome, a different reason, a different history. He was forced into the raw, primary reality that it is better to know who is in control than to know how he is controlling it. This choice to accept the mystery was his ultimate act of surrender. Mature. Faith recognizes that we are finite creatures encountering an infinite God. We cannot expect the mind that created the universe to fit neatly into the small compartment of our human logic. The peace that Jeremiah found, the peace that is available to you, is found not in solving the puzzle of suffering, but in the simple, fierce, daily choice to trust the character of the one in control. The moment we stop demanding that God give us a full, satisfying explanation for every heartbreak, every detour, and every unanswered prayer, we free ourselves from the exhausting work of trying to be our own gods. The answer is not a formula. It is a person, You have reached an age where life has dealt you situations that defy simple Sunday school explanations. Stop demanding an immediate logical explanation from God for the losses you've endured. Why the illness? Why the distance? Why the dream that never materialized? Your weary mind needs rest. Your faith is not measured by the clarity of your answers, but by the depth of your devotion in the presence of the unknown. Your wisdom now is the ability to look at an inexplicable sorrow and say, I don't understand this path, but I know the one who forged it, and I know he is good. Rest your weary mind. Let go of the need to be the theologian, the detective, and the judge of your own life story. You do not need the map to be fully unrolled and highlighted. You only need the guide. Allow God to hold the mystery. Allow him to hold the why. Your only task is to hold his hand. The great paradox of faith is that certainty is the reward for the one who first accepts the mystery. The greatest comfort is knowing that the one who loves you also knows everything. Certainty is the reward for the one who first accepts the mystery. The greatest comfort is in knowing the guide, not having the map. Lesson 20. The future is already in his hands. The most profound terror of uncertainty is the feeling of falling into a void, the sense that tomorrow is a blank space, unpredictable and potentially hostile. For the exiles, the future was exactly this, a terrifying, empty, pagan landscape. They had no temple, no king, no home. Their fear was not abstract. It was physical, national, and existential. They looked forward and saw only the terrifying power of Babylon, the relentless march of fate, and the fading memory of a God who seemed to have abandoned them to chaos. Their greatest fear was that God was either impotent or indifferent, that the world had become too large and too cruel for his power to manage. But Jeremiah delivered the central, game-changing revelation. God is not reacting to the chaos, he is ordering it. He did not lose control when Babylon conquered Jerusalem. He used that conquest. He said, I know the plans I have for you, right in the middle of the devastation. This means the future may be uncertain to you, but it is absolutely not unpredictable to him. The chaos you perceive is simply the raw material that the divine architect is working with to bring about his perfect, redemptive long-term plan, a plan that extends far beyond your lifespan, far beyond the lifespan of this current age. God's hands are not grasping at falling pieces. They are shaping the story. The ultimate source of our peace is recognizing the sovereignty of God over all things. We often imagine God is trying his best to keep up with the mess we've made, intervening here and there, but primarily limited by human free will and global events. Jeremiah's message shatters that image. God holds the entirety of history, past, present, and future, as a unified, coherent narrative. He is working with the ruin, the sorrow, and the fear to bring about a restoration that will be more beautiful and more permanent than anything that was lost. Your life, your losses, and your next steps are not anomalies. They are intricately woven into his intention. You are in a chapter of your life where you must rely less on physical energy and personal control and more on profound trust. You may look at the global state or your personal health and feel genuine, justified fear. But your future is not a terrifying blank space. It is a space already inscribed with his intention. You are held by the same God who orders the stars, who guides the orbit of galaxies, and who holds the destiny of nations. Your life is not drifting, it is navigating. Fear not. Lay your heavy burdens down. The worry over your children, the fear of your final years, the anxiety about the state of the world. Your future is not resting precariously in your hands, which are tired and prone to mistake. It is already irreversibly in his hands. When you look ahead and see fog, remember that the God who loves you is already standing on the other side of it, waiting for you. The uncertainty of your sight is swallowed by the ultimate certainty of his love and intention. Rest, beloved soul. Rest in the knowledge that you are a cherished part of a plan that cannot fail. The ultimate uncertainty is swallowed by the ultimate certainty, his love. The hands that hold the universe hold you, To finish this reflection, let us pray together. If this experience has brought you comfort, please share it with one person you know who is struggling with their own uncertain future. Your simple act of kindness helps us spread this message of peace and quiet hope to a weary world. Let's return to the scene we entered so long ago. The ruined city, the broken walls, the scent of rain on dust. But now it is touched by the full, triumphant light of dawn. The air is cool, the silence profound, and in the quiet you can hear a distant, faint echo of children's laughter. The promise of restoration is visible in the new light. You have seen nations change. You've watched fortunes rise and fall. You've felt bodies weaken and dreams fade like old photographs. You have lived long enough to know the full cost of existence in a broken world. But none of it, not the rise of empires, nor the decline of your own strength, nor the unraveling of society, has weakened his promise. None of it has changed his fundamental, self-giving character. The God who whispered hope into the ears of Jeremiah in a pit is the same God who whispers strength into your own heart today. He has seen your loss. He knows your confusion. He cherishes your tears. Your weariness is known, and your journey is honored. May you be seen in your current struggle. May you be steadied by the quiet certainty of his enduring love. May the God who held Jeremiah's tears hold your tomorrow and your next hour and your final breath. The future is uncertain to your human sight, but it is never, ever godless. You are not walking into a terrifying dark void. You are walking with the light of the world. Your task is finished when you trust the character of the guide, not when you finally gain the clarity of the path. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his deep, abiding, and eternal peace. Amen.